Welcome to Malcolm Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcolm and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right Podcast. I'm your host, Malcolm Reed, and I'm joined by my lovely, talented wife, Miss Southern Shell, right across from me. We got Tyler over on the board today, and we still got some cold weather. I'm loving it.
Oh, it's
a hoodie
cold
on
today.
It's hoodie. It's officially fat boy hoodie weather, and that's what I like. It's all the jacket you need.
It was not fat boy hoodie weather this past weekend in Oxford, Mississippi.
Man, it was beautiful though. It'd been a while. It'd been a minute since I've been to a game on Saturday. We went down for the Vandy it was a homecoming weekend in the Grove. At the game, they played Vanderbilt, who I guess they forgot to show up, but it wasn't much of a game. The Rebels are looking good. We've got A&M tomorrow morning, I guess it'll be tomorrow morning after if you listen
at home
to this.
Or at A&M?
It's at home.
Okay.
And then we've got Georgia. That's going to be a tough one. And then they got like a cupcake, Louisiana Monroe.
And then they got another cupcake.
And then they got another cupcake, them dogs. Bulldogs down in Starkville. That's the Egg Bowl. It'll be on Thanksgiving night.
Yeah.
So we'll be watching that one from full of turkey and dressing.
Don't expect a good game there.
Oh, I'm expecting a great game. You know how the Egg Bowl goes, though. Whatever team is favored, it's usually going to go the opposite way just because that other team, that's their last game of the year. What they got to play for.
Yeah. It's those rivalry games usually are a little more interesting.
Are the Bulldogs bowl eligible yet? Are they going to?
So.
I mean, I think you're only going to win 5 or 6 games.
I think we're at 4.
So they need to win a few more.
Yeah.
They still got a few games left. Maybe they will.
I don't know. We'll find out.
They got Kentucky this weekend. We're actually going down for that game. I hadn't been to a game in Starkville, and man, I bet it's been 20 years.
Me too.
Has it been that long since you've been to a game?
Yeah,
really?
Probably.
Imagine it was 1990 something the last time I went to Starkville.
The Grove's a little different.
It's a lot different than Starkville. I promise you, it's a lot different.
The Grove's pretty awesome.
How many pairs of white boots did you see in the Grove?
I started counting.
we were saying plus it was the over under was 1,000 and it was well over.
I counted, and once I got to about 50 or 60, I was like, I just can't count anymore.
There's some pretty fine white boots down there, Shell. I will say that. It was not like that when I was in school. I mean, there was. I guess it was like that. It's always like that. Don't miss.
It's
probably the best place to tailgate in the country.
Yeah.
I promise you it is. If y'all have never been to a game in Oxford, Mississippi,
it is something.
It is something to behold.
Yeah.
The stadium was packed. I mean, it cleared out at halftime because, I mean, once they handled the Commodores, which the score wasn't as one-sided as it probably could have been. They kicked several field goals. They probably could have put some more points on the board. But
what'd you ask Michael and his buddy? Have y'all seen some pretty ladies around here today?
Michael said, I ain't seen a bad one yet. You know that's got to be like a teenager's place to be.
I mean, those girls get dressed up for those games.
You think they're going to the nightclub. Yes. Like they must be going to the club right after the game.
It is a fashion show.
Yeah.
Halloween has come and gone.
It has. It was as eventful as ever for me, I guess. I didn't do nothing. I had to go drop Michael off somewhere and pick him up. That was my job.
We used to do all the things, the hay rides, the Zubus.
How old is officially like too old for your parents to take you trick-or-treating? I'm saying like 10, 11. That's the max.
I think 12, 13 was a good cutoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I get. Me and my brother were cutting it free at 12, 13, and in the neighborhood. It's not like we were going far, but we were in our neighborhood doing what we wanted to do. It was what? What'd you say? Not that long ago, Shell. Like 1987, 88. How long has that been?
10 years before I was born.
Yeah. It doesn't make me feel old there, Tom. I was through trick-or-treating a decade before you were ever born. Wow. Way to make an old man feel older.
And we made chili again this past weekend.
We couldn't think of anything else to cook Sunday. The weather was right for it, so we cooked chili. And it was dang good again.
I made actually a video
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I saw you had the little phone thing set up over the pot.
Yeah, it's just gonna be like a.
I didn't doctor on that one for you. It was all you. It was really good.
Well, I told you can't be in there doctoring on it. I wanted it to be an authentic recipe.
It turned out good.
So now we are officially in the holiday season.
You turned the Christmas lights on last night. Tyler, I'm telling you, the day after Thanksgiving, the Christmas lights were on the next night.
I feel like I need to clarify. We paid someone to come and put Christmas lights up.
For the first time ever.
Yeah, for the first time ever.
And they look good.
They look great, but I'm not going to pay somebody and then just wait to turn them on.
Christmas,
yeah,
like the week before.
Yeah, you got to get your money's worth.
When's the tree coming?
It's next weekend.
Next weekend? Heck yeah. I'll be gone. You're gonna get all that stuff out and decorate. It's already downstairs. You don't have to worry about getting it out. I don't have to help you drag it down or anything.
No, I saw the one go up in the office a couple of days ago. So.
Yeah.
That lady's they're coming to decorate that tree Saturday. Yeah. And next week we'll be full Christmas spirit. Hadn't even got to Thanksgiving yet. We're just going.
We've already cooked 2 turkeys.
So we
live on a whole different timeline.
Yeah, I'm already sick of turkey. Yeah, I'm turkeyed out already. I'm ready to get on to the prime rib, the hams,
the holiday dips.
Yeah, how many turkeys are you good for? Like, if you have turkey twice, are you done with it?
It depends on time frame.
I'm gonna tell you,
it's been 1 a week.
The one me and Mark did was really good. That was a good smoked turkey. But the one I did this week it was like a spatchcock quick turkey for TikTok. That turkey bloated away.
I agree.
I mean, I don't know what it was, that the turkey at the bottom at the same time. One of them stayed in the refrigerator 1 week longer. It had been in the refrigerator 2 weeks, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
Like when I took it out,
because the other one was kind of icy.
Yeah, the other one was still a little icy after a week, but 2 weeks in there, I wouldn't be scared. Now we don't open that fridge a lot. It is kind of our beer fridge, and it was just stayed in the bottom, but it was perfectly thawed out, and everything was just right. I don't know how much longer it would have made it. I mean,
yeah,
but it was
the other one we brined.
Yeah, I didn't brine this one. I just ripped the backbone out of it, injected it up with a store-bought Tony's Creole butter injection, and seasoned it with some cream crawl and ran it. And it was a 2-hour turkey. And Tyler, I don't know what you're going to do with that shot, but when I cut into it and that joker just geyser juice everywhere. Like I'm not, you couldn't have put a pump in it and hit on the button and sprayed it any more than all that juice that came out of it. I was shocked when
I was too.
It's like, dang, how's it holding that?
Where was that hiding at?
I guess it was up under the skin.
It
was up under the skin and right in the breast. But it was juicy. It was moist. I mean, the dark meat was as good as the white meat. The skin was excellent on it. If you need a fast cook of turkey, that's the way to do it.
We're gonna. I
figure we'll talk about that closer to where. Yeah.
We got a turkey video coming out next week.
It's kind of turkey basic tips or whatever, how to smoke one. Like kind of like we did the brisket and the ribs with me and Mark, along those same lines.
But
we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, this week you did a Brat Burger.
Yes, and that Brat Burger was excellent. So you know where I got that from? Austin here at the shop. He was doing them because he was like, we like brats, but we just didn't want to get tired of eating the sausages. So we did it, busted them out, and turned it into a burger. And I was like, that's a pretty damn good idea. And I've seen people do it before, but basically all I did was buy 2 packs. I don't remember the recipe.
Johnsonville.
Yeah, if I did 1 or 2, but I bought 2 packs, and you split the casing and get all the brat meat out of the casing.
You said I unzipped them.
Unzipped them. And then you take it and I formed them into balls and then put them in my burger press and formed it into a patty and then got them ice cold. And it's a hamburger patty at that point, or a Brat Burger patty. And then you just grill them. And so I'd do them 2-zone. That's the way, like, let them come up slow on the side. And I wonder how they'd be in a beer bath, like just a shallow pan with a little beer. I don't know if that'd be too much.
Don't you think it'd disintegrate it, kind
of? Probably. I don't know. Probably wouldn't be as good. But they were kind of reverse seared at Brat Burgers, I guess you would say.
You also did some onions on the side.
Yeah, while they were on the cool zone.
That would have been a good place to add the beer flavor.
Yeah, you could have did the beer. Yeah, beer.
I wish we'd have thought about that. Yeah, because we just use olive oil and like steak rub.
Steak rub, yeah. That would have been really good to add a little beer to that.
Because that'd have given you that beer flavor that you kind of get with brats. But it was a great idea. The burger was delicious.
Man, it was juicy. It tastes like a brat, and I did the elements. So when you think of a brat, like I know you always put blue plate on your brat.
Yeah.
That's probably not the norm. The norm is mustard.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, how can I was like, let's make a creamy mustard, but I like a spicy brown mustard. So I just took blue plate and spicy brown mustard and mixed those.
And it was perfect. It was a great little sauce.
It was just super simple. So that was the foundation. Did a hamburger bun, did some of that brat sauce on it. And when I think of brats, I think of onions for one. A lot of times peppers too.
Yeah, onions and peppers.
But I didn't do the peppers on this one. I just did the onions. But I was like, since it's a burger, I kind of wanted that pickle element to it because I love pickles on a dill pickle on a burger. So I bought those stacker pickles, the big planks that are thin, and just line them on the bun. And that way you get a bite of pickle in every bite. And that pickle goes really good with that brat and with the onions on top. And all you needed was a little glaze, and I put a little cheese on it. I mean, I think I used like a Colby Jack cheese, but it was easy.
It was basically like you took elements of a burger and the elements of a brat and kind of smushed them together. Yeah.
Would you eat brats like that again?
Heck yeah. It was delicious.
I think so too. It might be better than the actual sausage, honestly.
It might be better than just a regular old burger too.
Yeah. Well, so you don't have to do anything. Like there's no seasoning to it really. Because a brat's a unique flavor. Whatever seasonings, I don't know.
And
what
it's a great
into
flavor.
It. Yeah,
I love
it's really good. And but I did put a little bit. The only thing I put on it was a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper over the top, just to help it get a little crust, a little texture on it. You could have put a little steak rub probably or something like that. Yeah, you could have done. But I wouldn't. I mean, I don't think it needs a whole lot. And I did glaze them though. So going along with that brat, I say, what would be good on it? And I was like, kind of a mustard sauce. So I just said, well, I'm going to use some Cattleman's Carolina Gold. Has a little sweet element to it, But I just brushed it. So the way I did these, after I got them cold out of the fridge, I got a 2-zone fire going in my Primo ceramic grill. Hot coals on one side, none on the other side. That's your cool zone. I took those cold patties and put them right on that cool side and cracked black pepper over them and just let them roll. Threw my iron skillet over the hot coals and added those thin sliced onions with the olive oil and a little steak rub and just sauteed it. It took maybe 20 minutes. They get going, they get getting hot. You're not trying to like cook them all the way down, candy caramelized. You just want to soften them up and get a little caramelization going on them, a little brown.
Yeah.
Because I still want texture of the onion. Like if you caramelize them too far, it just gets mushy and it's too soft. It makes great bacon onion jam, but for a brat, you want some texture of the onion.
And they keep getting sweeter.
Yeah. It almost gets them. It does get them candy sweet.
Yeah, it can.
Like that. But I set those off to the side. And the burgers, I really wasn't worried about temping them. I mean, I knew I wanted to take them to 165, but once they looked like, I started quit seeing some of that moisture come out of the top. They had some decent color to them. That's when I moved them over to the hot side and just let them sear a little bit, like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think you did 2 minutes each side.
Yeah, and it just gets a little crust on there and gives you a little more grill flavor because you're right over the heat. But if you started those burgers out directly over the heat, they're going to just be raining grease. I mean, they're going to cook out a lot of fat. That casing's not there anymore. It's not there to stop the fat from cooking out. So I've got the brats, on that cool side first to keep them from flaring up. And basically, I'm just trying to render that fat. And once it gets rendered out, if I had to guess, I would say 140, 145. They're not quite done, but
I think you tempt them and they were 150, 155.
Yeah, that's in that range you want. You don't want them quite done. Then you want to be able to put them over, finish them off, and I don't mind if it's flaming up a little bit then, and it did. I was getting some flame Burger King action on the bottom, flame broiled. And once I just watched them, I didn't walk off. It might not take 2 minutes. So if yours fire's a little bit closer, your fire's a little bit hotter, don't just get some sear on them. That's the main point there. And then move them back to the cold side and then go ahead and cheese them. Or I glazed them, actually, at this point. That's when I put the little Cattleman's Carolina Gold over the top. And just let that set for 5 minutes just to kind of glaze that patty a little bit, give it a little more flavor.
Just cook on.
Yeah, and you don't have, if you wanted to skip that step, you could. If you had something else you wanted to glaze them with, by all means, do it. But I just thought that was an easy way, and it just gave it another little layer of that mustardy flavor. And then they're done at that point. Get your toasted hamburger bun, put your brat sauce on it, that spicy brown mixed with some blue plate mayonnaise. It's not, if I would say it's probably.
I say do the ratio to your heart's content.
Yeah, it's not quite 50-50.
What are you putting more of?
I'm putting a little more of the mustard because I like it.
Yeah.
But if you wanted a little less mustardy, or if you just wanted
or a little more mustard.
Or a little more mustardy, go a little more. But, it's not a bad place to start right there.
Even if you're not a big fan of mayonnaise, which I don't.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Would you know that was like, oh, you mix mayonnaise? I guess, you probably would, but.
Probably not. I don't know.
It's just a.
I would highly recommend doing that because it makes it a little creamy.
Yeah.
Every time you've done some sort of pork burger, it's been so much more flavorful than like a.
Well,
burger.
Compart used to sell those pork burgers.
Yeah.
Man, they were good, and you could just grill them off. They'd be raining down grease, but they cook fast, and I bet you they'd be good on flat top. I hadn't had any of those in a long time.
Oh, I bet they would be, where you get a little crust.
But that's what brat is. Brat's pork.
Yeah.
So, you don't get that beef element. I wonder how it would be like if you mixed it with ground beef, or if it would change the I never messed with that. I was just thinking Brat Burger, but now it's got me thinking, like, cut the brat.
You could do like 2 small patties and put them on top of each other.
Yeah.
A top pork patty and a bottom beef patty.
You could.
But anyway, this got me thinking about, like, should we be seasoning our beef burgers more?
I season beef a lot now. It gets my AP. I usually put some Swan Life prime beef in it. I might put some steak rub on top. I might put some Worcestershire in there when I'm mixing it up, Definitely putting some mayo in it, some blue plate. I put a dollop of that, a tablespoon of that per pound of meat, just because it gives it another richness, and that's kind of a little trick on a burger. But, yeah, I think you definitely want to season up your hamburgers more. They need all, like, salt, pepper, garlic.
For
sure. You don't do anything.
For sure.
But anything else you do to them, you can kick them up.
So I did a little research. Got some Shell's Learning Corner information for you. So do you know why you're not supposed to overmix ground beef? Because that was the thing. You're not supposed to overmix the meat,
Why? Because it heats it up or something?
It releases myosin, which is a protein that causes muscle contractions.
Okay.
So
makes a tough burger.
Yeah. So it's important for burger making. Myosin binds the fat with the water, so it's leads to a more tender burger, and it's what gives you that consistency, so everything sticks together. It's kind of an emulsifying agent, but you want to retain as much of the protein as possible. But when you mix too much and let too much myosin escape, it makes it chewy.
I've noticed that in some burgers too. Well, when we mix sausage, I'll run it through a paddle mixer. Yeah. And you got to do it at a certain time because you do need that protein to meld the moisture in there and to make the better texture. But if you overwork it, it changes the texture of your sausage too. So if you're overworking it. So that makes sense to me. I've always I don't like if I buy ground beef from the store, I don't like to overwork it. I like to take it and divide it into kind of balls, and I don't work that ball hard. And that's why I put it in that press, because I'm not having to hand patty it and mix it too much. I'll put a little seasoning in it, work it in, the mayo, and then not overwork it like you're kneading dough or anything, and then get it into the shape and then just like a baseball or a tennis ball, and then that goes in my press, and then I just press it down. And I always stick them back in the refrigerator. Every time I've worked or had it out, working it and patting it, I want them to get cold again. And so I'll stick them back just because it seems like it helps them hold together better. Yeah. When I put them on the grill, and the brats, so it got heated up messing with it. You want to get it cool again, but it's usually the perfect time to go ahead and get your grill fired up. That's as long as it takes, 15, 20 minutes, And if it's hot outside, definitely you want to do it indoors and keep them cold until you bring them out to cook them.
So the research I did on burgers said that you want to keep them cold. So when they hit the fire, they're getting crusty on the outside without overcooking on the inside. So it's just slowing down the cooking process.
Because it does develop a little crust on the outside. Yeah.
So it also suggested that you need to make sure you have a good amount of fat, up to 25%.
In a regular burger?
In a burger. Low-fat burgers will cause myosin to bind to itself, which can also create dry meat. So
if you're eating them 90-10s or them super leans, I expect that to be dry. I like that 80-20.
And that's your 20%.
Yeah.
And then
75-25 would be a little fatty.
If you added mayonnaise to a 80-20.
Yeah, you might get a little.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to give a little bit
fat.
more percentage of that fat to it.
What about eggs to your burgers?
I ain't making meatloaf. It changes the texture. Yeah, it probably binds it, makes it better. But I don't put an egg in there when I'm making a regular hamburger. I don't think it needs it.
So I did some research on that too.
Yeah,
they said the only time you really need to add eggs to burgers if you're using a really low fat meat.
Yeah,
like maybe a deer or something like that.
Huh.
But then you could just add mayonnaise.
Yeah, because I guess it's the oil element, the fat. Yeah.
It's just helping you.
Deer and the mayo works in the deer all day long. It keeps it juicy and moist.
It does. It makes the best deer patties.
And I don't use unless I've got brisket trim. I usually use pork fat in my ground deer. I like the way it melts better, and it goes with it instead of using a beef fat. Beef fat just.
Is that why those burgers are so
good? Yeah, for real.
That makes sense now. So, do you think it's when I say that pork burgers taste better, do you think it's the fat?
Probably leading the taste to them. I mean, I don't think a pork burger is better than a beef burger by any means, but they're good.
So
I bet you could definitely combine them. I've never done that, like mixed ground pork with ground beef and made a burger out of it. That's something to try, to test out, see how it tastes.
So this cook, you also poked a hole in the middle of your burger?
I do that to all of them. Anytime I'm pattying out meat, if you've never, everybody's probably seen it happen. You cook burgers and you form them yourself or hand. If you don't have a burger press, you're making a patty by hand, and then you put it on the grill, and all of a sudden it turns into a meatball. Putting that little indention with your thumb on there stops that. I've even seen people put like a cube of ice in it, trying to slow it down and make it do it. I don't think it needs that.
Like you put an indentation and then put a cube of ice.
Yeah, I've seen people do that, but I don't think it needs that. Anytime you buy, like if you go to the grocery store and you see the meat case and they've got burger patties there, all of them will have that an indentation or a little hole in them or something, because it closes back up, but it gives a place for the meat to swell to fill that back in instead of just balling up and drawing up and staying in that circular form. That's what you're trying to avoid. Nobody wants to eat a meatball burger.
I hate those when you go somewhere and all they got says,
those,
you got all this bun on the outside of your burger.
And there's one ball of meat in the middle that's well done.
Yeah.
And they've nuked it.
And it's just flavorless and dry.
Can't always chew it. Can't put enough ketchup and stuff on it to get it down.
Have you ever added butter to your beef?
I've never added butter.
So when
mayo's the ticket, I'm telling you. Dab a blue plate in a per pound.
So when I was doing this research, somebody suggested that you grate butter and add it to your ground beef.
Now, I've done that with I'm making homemade biscuits. Yeah. I'll get that. I'll put the butter in the freezer, then run it on a box grater, and then cut it into the flour, and it works great for making homemade biscuits. So
you've done it with scrambled eggs too.
So you challenging me to do a butter burger?
A butter burger.
Butter burger.
So
I can do that. I always put a knob of butter in my scrambled eggs. I put that's what I start them in instead of using like cooking oil or something. You just like a tablespoon of butter in the pan, let that melt, and then make your scrambled eggs. And then right when they're getting done, you put one more little knob of butter in there and just let that melt. And then don't stir your scrambled eggs too much. Just kind of fold them. And man, that butter, it makes them taste rich and delicious.
It does.
And you're getting some good fat in your diet for that.
Good fat and protein.
Real fat. Butter fat.
I used to think that when you scrambled eggs, you scrambled them.
Oh, yeah. I hate those. I
want
them fluffy and light and just barely folded enough.
When
they start curling, you just fold them a little bit and then you kind of tilt the skillet and let that go back and fold it back in. And all of a sudden you've got this fluffy mound of scrambled eggs that just need a little butter and a little salt and black pepper. That's all they need.
So when I was doing this research, I love this quote. They were talking about using salt and butter on burgers and this stuff. And it says, the reason restaurant food tastes better than yours has a lot to do with salt and butter.
I believe that. Probably accent, MSG. Makes everything taste better.
You're not adding enough salt and butter. What about the bun?
I always toasted bun. I mean,
what kind of bun?
That was just a brioche I think I got from Kroger, but it's.
Do you have a preference?
No, bun's a bun.
Jay used to always swear by
potato buns.
Potato buns.
Yeah.
He said that made the best burger.
He orders them from somewhere, especially to make the smash burgers he likes to make.
I think it.
I mean, I don't
Your
get
burger can make, or your bun can make or break a burger. I think.
I just want one that's soft.
Yeah.
You know.
But if it's too thick.
Yeah, you don't want them too thick. You don't want them too heavy. You don't like a lot of that toasted crust on the outside of them. I'm not as particular. I'll eat a Wonder Bun all day long.
A good fresh one.
Yeah. I always touch them, see how soft they are. I buy the store-bought brand a lot of times. I don't have a preference. They don't have to be sesame seeded or Kaiser rolls or brioche or anything like that. They make better videos using a fancy bun. But as far as eating goes, usually it's just whatever's on sale and soft. To buy your bread I really don't buy it by price as much as I buy it by freshness.
How it
I
feels.
go through there and feel, if the bunny bread feels soft that day, I'll buy it. If the Wonder Bread's soft, same goes for buns, whichever one feels right.
See, back in the day, I used to just go and buy bread.
Just get whatever loaf you saw first you got.
And Malcom has taught me.
Check your
has
freshness.
Forced me to
You can't click.
feel all the bread. I look like a weirdo.
You can't
there.
click list bread. That's bread and meat. You can't click list. People aren't going to go in there and pick out the best looking pack of chicken for you or the softest bread. You squeeze the bread, Tyler?
Nope, can't say that. I do.
You're too young to know that.
Most people don't.
Yes, they do. Most people that know, they inspect their produce too. You just go in and grab a bag of taters, or do you look through the bag and see if you see any of them sprouting, or
I mean, yeah,
you
I
look
look
for
at
a firm head of lettuce, or
I wouldn't say I examine the potatoes or anything.
Really?
Like I might.
You just grab a bag and go.
Yeah, I'm a risky man. I might try the bread thing though. I might leave here and do that and let y'all.
What about bacon? Do you look at the pack of bacon, or you just grab a
I
pack?
definitely do that.
No.
You've got to look at the bacon and see what the fat to lean ratio is, and make sure the slices look right. That's why they got the little view window in there.
You're looking for those center cut pieces of bacon.
Definitely.
You don't
always
want
look
those
at the
little
bacon.
scraggly ones on the end.
Do you look at the eggs? Tell me you look at the eggs.
Oh, well, yeah. Like, I don't. Yeah.
You got to open the eggs and touch each one to make sure they're not stuck and not cracked or
touch
anything.
them? No.
Now you understand what it's like going to the store, Malcom.
Do y'all not do that?
Don't touch them.
I mean, I
Yes,
look.
you do. I wiggle each egg because, have y'all never
All
got
12?
Well, have you never got a thing where the egg sticks to it and you can't get it out of the thing and it breaks in it and you've got a ruined egg at that point?
I'm going to start washing my eggs because of you.
I don't wash them. I just touch them and look at them. I mean, you're not going to lick that egg when you get home just because I touched it. You got the old coal one that I put back.
Yep.
I inspect everything.
You better not bring home some hard bread.
Yeah.
I will say that there is a big difference when you start touching your bread.
What about the date on milk? Do y'all even look at that?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to look at the date on the milk and get the freshest gallon.
We always buy plant milk. So
Speaking of dairy, do you add cheese to your
usually,
on your burger?
I usually don't put the cheese on mix it in the meat.
No, but on top.
Oh, yeah. I'm a cheeseburger man.
What's your favorite cheese?
I can't pick a favorite cheese. I like them all. Depends on how I'm feeling.
Yeah, that's how
What's
I
the
am.
best cheese?
I like pepper jack. Or some sort of jack.
I mean, it's hard to beat that private selection, just white American cheese.
American.
But
that's good
I
on
like
a
cheddar.
sandwich.
I like blue cheese crumbled on my burger.
Ooh,
I like pepper jack. I like Colby jack. I like Monterey jack. I like mozzarella. Man, you name it. I love cheese. It don't like me, but I like it.
So for this recipe, you did a 2's on fire. Do you always cook your burger 2's?
No, not always. I mean, sometimes I'm just grilling burgers, but I do like even if I'm setting up a fire in a Weber grill, I do like to keep me a little safe, and I call it a safe area. It's just an area where there's no coals, because if something gets out of hand, you got a place to go. So that's why I do it. So I just know that if these burgers get to cooking too fast, I need to slow them down. I get too much grease dripping, starts a fire. I could scoot them over and let that burn out, and then go back to cooking.
Is there anything that you don't set up a 2's on fire for? Like steaks, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, I don't really on steaks. I mean, that's anytime I'm just hot and fast and it's fixing to be done with. If it's going burgers take a little while to cook. I'm not just just power cook burgers like you do a steak, because you'll burn up the outside before the inside ever gets done. So you got to kind of take that into mind when you're cooking a burger. But most of the time, if you're grilling a steak, you just need a hot fire and it's not on there long at all.
Yeah.
Unless it's a super thick steak and then I'm going to reverse sear it, then it would be a 2's on. I mean, there's different times,
Yeah.
Sometimes I just.
How many times do you flip burgers?
I like just to do them like once. I don't like to do multiple flips. I like to cook that one side to let juice. You start seeing the blood and stuff come up to the top. It's kind of, you let that go until it starts getting that kind of gray color, and then flip them over, and it should have a good crust on it. And then that's it. But, if you do them on pellet grill, you can do them no flip ones that are good.
They're pretty
don't even
good.
flip them. What do you like better, a grilled burger or like a smoked burger?
Oh, I had that too. Or a flat top burger.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like 3 different ways you can really cook a good burger. To me, that's like saying, do you like deep dish pizza? Do you like thin crust?
Well,
the answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes. Yeah. I will say like the thinner burgers, diner style, what I consider diner style burger,
little crusty,
is a flat top burger.
Yeah.
That's always going to be better. It's thinner, you flatten it out some, or it's a thin patty.
So you prefer that over
on a flat top? I prefer that on a flat top.
Oh, okay.
But if it's a thicker burger, like you get the 1/4 pound burger, it just doesn't do as good on a flat top to me. I'd rather have that grilled. If I'm going bigger than that, I'm probably going to do it smoked, and then or reverse seared, because you just need it to get that burger done right. So there's kind of like a little range of.
But what's your favorite?
I mean, it's hard to beat just a grilled burger, just
That
straight charcoal grilled burger, 1/4 pound.
I'd say that probably has the best flavor.
When
they're done right.
Yeah.
When they're not overcooked, they're not overworked.
That's
they're not meatballs.
Yeah. The meat's just juicy and tender.
Do you always glaze burgers or?
No, most of the time I don't. I only did that one just because it's a Brat Burger and I wanted something different, but I usually don't. Now, there was one burger I glazed. It was that jerk.
You've done a jerk burger. And you've done
Man, that burger is so good with that jerk sauce over it. It is really good.
It has like 3 elements. It's got like a grilled pineapple salsa, a calypso sauce.
Yeah.
And then the jerk burger. Oh.
It was really good.
I want to enter that in a burger contest. I'm going to do it one of these days.
You could do little mini ones, and that would be good to do.
So back in the day, when I would see people grilling burgers, they would have a little spritz bottle of water.
Yeah. For them flare-ups.
What do you do? I've never seen you have a little spritz bottle of water.
Yeah. That's why I have, because I have a cool zone. If mine gets out of hand, I'm just going to move whatever I got over enough to let it go down. But I want some of that flame action going when I'm grilling burgers, because that's what makes them taste so good, letting those flames hit them. You just can't let it get out of control. But see, what most people do, they're cooking way too many burgers on way too small a grill, and they've got hot coals right up under it, and then they've got all the, they've got the whole grilling surface filled up with burger patties, and it's just raining grease, and it's starting that fire, and that's why they're out there trying to squirt it.
And they don't have a cool zone.
And they don't have a cool zone to go to, and then they burn them up. The burger's all burnt and got bad flavor on the outside. The inside's still raw. So that's the whole thing. Like, you can't overcrowd your grill, and it helps to have that cool zone. And what if it takes you a little bit longer to cook? Cook burgers in batches. Do 4 instead of trying to get 8 on there at one time. Give yourself plenty of room. I think that's just grilling technique, really.
What about Slug burgers?
Oh, I love Slug burgers. Not many people know about them. It's really, it's got to be just a Southern thing too, and more specifically, probably
I didn't know about them.
Northeast Mississippi thing. So the Slug burger is a Depression era burger. So you think way back, 1930s, whatever that was, Great Depression time. A nickel was a slug. That's what they called them, a slug. So you could get a burger for a nickel. And what it is, and a lot of people think it's beef. Most of the time they didn't use beef. Most of the time it was pork mixed with like a soy flour and with some kind of binder, something to stretch it, because meat was expensive. And they needed to find a way to make meat go longer. So they mixed this soy flour or protein with it, whatever. And they made them into these little patties, and they kind of deep fat fry them or shallow fat fry them. Usually it's a big vat that's only a couple inches deep, and it's full of hot grease, and they'll float these little patties over in there, and they crisp up and turn brown. So it looks almost like a piece of country fried steak, or it has that look to it.
Yeah.
It's not like, it doesn't look like a burger when you look at the patty. And they're always served mustard, pickle, onion. You can add cheese, but you don't really need. That's the cheese on a Slug burger is not the best. and this needs a mustard pickle onion. And they still serve them this way today. They have a Slug Burger Festival in Corinth, Mississippi. And you can there's a couple little local grocery chains that you can actually buy Slug Burger meat.
There's a bunch of people that sell Slug Burgers in the town of Corinth.
Yeah, there's several places. Most famous probably being White Trolley, or was it Bargram's drugstore or farm? It's like an old pharmacy where they still have the soda shop. I think it's Barham's or Bargram's. I don't know. You'd have to look up the pronunciation of it.
They are as delicious as they sound.
You hate them. Like, you hate them. I grew up eating them. You got that. You got 2 Slug Burgers, a little quarter bag of fries, and a grape soda in a glass bottle. And I thought that was the best thing ever. And we would get that in the summertime when schools were out. We would go visit our relatives up there in that part of the country, or that part of Mississippi or Tennessee, and we always stopped. And that was a treat to get those.
Yeah. And
you could get it all less for $1 back when I was a kid. Now I think Slug Burger's probably $1 itself. Still cheap. Like compared to like a McDonald's hamburger.
Yeah, because they're not that big. They're not like a big regular.
No, it's like it's about the size of a regular cheeseburger from McDonald's or Burger King, you know.
But they're typically cooked too hard.
There's an art to it.
And then there's it's just
people don't do it the way they used to. My mom can fry them much better than those restaurants now. But she's had years of practice doing it.
Yeah.
Jay has an actual recipe, Tennessee Mojo, on how to make Slug Burgers, and he kind of went in and shows you how to make the meat yourself. I guess I don't know. I think he did. He showed you his ratio he used and how you do them, and
I'd try one of Jay's Slug Burgers.
I bet they're fantastic.
I bet they're really good. It just needs some mayonnaise on it.
You know, that's sacred. Now I'll eat mayonnaise on stuff, but I'm not putting it on my Slug Burger. You put it, it'd probably
be delicious. And you know what kind of mayonnaise you got to use?
What?
Blue Plate.
The only real mayonnaise.
Real mayonnaise. Quality since 1827. 1927.
Almost 100 years.
Almost 100 years. If you are choosing mayonnaise this weekend, make sure you choose Blue Plate. Hashtag spread the love. Did you?
Is that really their hashtag? Or
yeah.
you just say that. I just thought you made it up. Official mayonnaise of the New Orleans Saints.
If you, Alvin posted a photo with a neon Blue Plate sign, like he was in New Orleans, you know, and he said, anybody know where I am? And this guy, Michael, responded with, is that Rochelle Reed's She Shed? I thought that was pretty funny.
We don't have a Blue Plate sign. We got a Blue Plate metal wall art.
So right now, the Texas Monthly Barbecue Fest is going on.
Ooh. Is this where they pick out the #1 barbecue joint in Texas too? Is this
always
where they vote for it?
I don't know if they vote for it then, but that's the magazine that does it.
Yeah.
It's this weekend.
Well, so it's actually like an event you can go to and spectate.
So Saturday they call it the Barbecue World's Fair, and it's just kind of like it's free to go. It's just like you can walk up and down the streets, and they're vending and they're doing cool stuff and have exhibits. And then on Sunday they do a barbecue picnic. And I think you have to buy tickets to it, but you can sample the top 50 barbecue restaurants in Texas are there.
Wow.
Representing, and you can go around.
What town is that in?
It's in Lockhart this year.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
They move it around?
I think so.
And you know how cool of an event that would be to go to?
I know. And they got bands playing on Sunday and stuff.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's called their barbecue picnic. I'd love to go to that.
Yeah, I could see that being a heck of a trip right there.
Yeah. Well, if you went to that, you'd have to try all the restaurants in Lockhart. Swing by Austin.
Oh, you'd be on meat overload by the time it was done.
It would take you a week.
I didn't need to go multiple days of it because you just can't eat that much barbecue one day, you know. We've done the barbecue crawls, and by the time you try something at 4 places, you are like smoked out.
I always mess up on the barbecue crawls because you're hungry.
Yeah. You start out hungry and you eat something. Yeah.
And you eat, and then by the time you're at your 3rd place, you're like, ugh.
Tired of it. Yeah. It does. You eat a big beef rib bone at 3 places and see how you feel.
But if you got to walk around and just sample a little bit, I could see that being cool. So I got some community questions for you.
Oh, heck yeah. I love community questions. What community? How to Barbecue Right community.
Yeah.
That was your cue to this. The How to Barbecue Right
It's
community.
the Let's Get to Cooking How to Barbecue Right community on Facebook.
Where can you ask these questions?
You can join Tyler.
Facebook.com/group/H2Q community.
That was what I was getting at. I kind of went about it wrong.
I got to get better at my hype in our community. So what kind of coolers do you use for resting?
I had the cheap ones from Walmart. Just so happened they were Igloo, the Igloo brand, I think, Party Stacker. Or Cool Breeze Party Stackers, they were called, right?
No, there was an Island Breeze that we would use.
Yeah.
And then there was just the Party Stackers.
Okay, that's what they were. That's the brand.
They still make the Island Breeze.
Is it still the?
It's still at Walmart.
Okay, same size.
Yeah, they're just taller.
Okay, that's what
The Party Stackers are those.
These are just like $20 coolers from Walmart. They hold.
I think they've gone
just perfect. They don't hold too well. Like if you put them down if you put meat like hot meat down in a Yeti and you close the lid on it, man, it's like a hot box. It's insulated so well. It wants to keep it hot forever. But so if you use a cheaper cooler, it works. It works really good, but it still lets some of the heat out. Doesn't keep it as hot, and that's why we started using those. And they're cheap. If you get it all greasy and nasty, maybe throw that one away and go get you another one after some of your uses, because you're not probably going to use these for drinks once you start using them as meat holders. But you could. We do.
We have.
We multi-purpose some coolers. You might find a sack of crawfish raw in it. You might find alive in it. You might find we might wash it out, put the cook back in it, and we might hold meat in it. We might ice it down with beer. You never know.
I used to be a cooler washing machine. I hated washing coolers.
Oh. Because we always had the big white ones from Sam's, and you had all the little cheap ones we'd have from Walmart.
Every time y'all did crawfish, we'd have to clean them for the crawfish. Then we'd have to clean them after the crawfish. And then,
In between, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just a cheap cooler from Walmart. They're nothing fancy. I heard they quit making the Party Stacker. So you got to improvise and find one. But it don't have to be anything high dollar.
In this video you did a week ago, you actually used
that was
the
that brisket one?
Yeah.
I didn't have, so I thought I had a what I call my meat cooler, a Party Stacker down there at the smokehouse. Well, evidently we took it back to the shop, or they brought it back to our house, and I didn't have anything.
And I mean, this is like 5 a.m. in the morning.
And my cousin had been over the week before and brought him some beer to watch football with us, and left that styrofoam cooler. And I saw it sitting there on the porch, and I was like, hey, that'll hold a brisket. And so it wouldn't fit down in it because, those things taper down and get narrow at the bottom. I was like, well, crap. The lid was sitting there. I said, well, let me see if this brisket will fit in the lid. And it set perfect. Like I'd had it, wrapped up. I set it right in the lid, and I just flipped the bottom up and set it right on top. I said, all right, we got a rib cooler, or a brisket cooler. And it worked. I left it in there for 2 hours. It was still warm and juicy when I pulled it out and sliced it up.
And we had brisket for breakfast.
It was really good.
Heck yeah.
So this is Jeremy asked, what's the longest you've rested a brisket? And what did you rest it in? But
longest, probably 8 hours, because we watched it. Remember when we had those? I did it with butts and I did it with brisket, but we left the thermometer, like one of our dots, in it
kind of an
after
experiment.
we put it in the cooler, and we let it go. And I was like, I figured it would be below 140 in 6 to 8 hours. It was still over. It was still like 160 degrees after 8 hours. I was like, man, I'm just calling this experiment. That's too long. It was like, midnight. I'm like, I want to go to bed. I know it ain't gonna sit here and keep checking on this thing all night, so we're gonna call it. And I just put it in the refrigerator.
What were you holding it in?
Just a regular cheap cooler.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy. Yeah. It hold. I mean, you can hold it as long as they stay. Just leave your probe in it. I mean, you can wrap it up and put it in a cooler, leave your probe in it, run the probe out the door, the lid of the cooler, and just let it sit. As long as it doesn't once it gets below 140, you got to make your mind up, because the clock's ticking then. You got to either serve it and eat it, or you got to get it cooled down and, in the refrigeration or froze. So.
But if you've left it in that cooler.
Yeah.
And without messing with it, you can go.
Oh, it'll go a long time.
6 to 8.
It'll go a long
easy.
time. And a lot of it depends on the size of the cooler, too. Like if you got a cooler with a lot of airspace and it's cold, when you put that meat in there, of course it's not going to do it as good. It's got to heat the cooler up. But that's why I like those smaller ones, because they fit tight and it stuff's in there and it's insulated. So.
And they're easy to move. They're easy to store.
Yeah, using a big one. If you do a lot of meat, you need a big one.
One thing.
Then you got to think about if you're doing a lot of meat, like say you're putting 10 butts in a big cooler, 100-quart cooler. Well, that's going to be a ton of heat in there. And so you're going to have to open that one, burp. We call it burping it, but all it is open the lid, letting some of that heat out, and then making the meat heat the air back up after letting the cool in there. So you got to do that too.
One thing I like about those party stacker coolers is when you're in the barbecue trailer, they go right underneath the couch.
Yeah, they'll slide right under. I do like the convenience of being able to store them really easy. And they're easy to wash. You can wash one of those in the sink. You don't have to get out the garden hose and soap and all, scrub and all that. You can just put those in the sink, put a little Dawn in it, swash it around, rinse it out with the sink sprayer, and you're good to go.
Because you're going to need to wash them.
Oh, yeah. I don't care how good you have something wrapped up in a pan. It's going to get something in there, some grease in there some kind of way.
Oh, also, what are your thoughts on separating the point and the flat before you smoke?
I've always liked to cook them whole. I felt like it gave me some insurance. And I like that transition zone when I get my slices where it's got a little bit of that flat on top and it's got that nice fatty layer and then it's got that tender point right up under it. That's my favorite slice of brisket. So that depends because I know contest guys, most of them are all separating them. Now, when me and Waylon were doing a lot of KCBS contests, we cooked them whole. I mean, I had them trimmed where it was an easy separate. Mm-hmm. And once that flat got done, we would take our knife and slide right down it, wrap the flat up, put it up, and then finish the point because the point was never there. We were going to make burnt ends out of it. But I always like cooking them whole.
I wonder if anybody still cooks them whole in contests.
I'm sure there's some people that do, but most people are power cooking now. They're cooking briskets in 4 or 5 hours. They're not cooking them whole. They're cutting it down to where it's pretty much a little rectangle.
Well,
I don't like that as much. I mean, I know it wins contest, but man, it's not a brisket.
I remember Waylon, the first time we saw somebody do that, he said, man, they just took a $250 brisket and cut it down to a $20 brisket.
I mean, that's how much you trim off of it doing that to it. But it wins checks, so that's why people do it. And they don't stay up with it all night. I mean, we were cooking our brisket all night. We were putting it on like 10 o'clock. Having to get up in the middle of the night and wrap it and finish it off. And it would be done the next morning. We gave ourselves plenty of hold time. But now, people are lighting these, like Mark, for instance, when he does a KCBS contest, he's lighting his pit at 5 a.m. That brisket's going on at like 6, and it's done by 9:30, 10. I mean, that's fast. That's cooking a brisket fast. But I bet if you weighed that brisket he's cooking, it's not but, 4 or 5 pounds.
3 pounds,
yeah. It's not very big.
I got another.
Start with a 20-pounder and cut it down to 4.
I got another question for you. It's kind of a competition question. So they're cooking. They have a restaurant and they have KCB and they cook KCBS contests.
Yeah,
they are doing really good with their chicken. They have all these customers that want to eat their competition style chicken. But how are they going to translate competition style chicken to kind of a restaurant setting or a setting where you?
You're going to be cooking chicken around the clock, because it's not going to hold and be good.
That's true.
You can run a batch every hour because it takes about an hour, an hour and a half to cook it. So
they were talking about like the skin. How are they going to?
I don't think you could hold chicken like that and be any good.
And actually serve it.
I mean, I don't think it would be that good.
Let's say they're making it to order.
I mean, you couldn't make it to order. You just you'd have to be rotating that. So my limited time working in kitchens, Cracker Barrel was one of the ones I worked in. We had people in the back that cook stuff, and it come out in a pan, and it would be sealed over the top with plastic wrap and dated. And so you were constantly the point being you're constantly rotating this stuff out.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do your chicken like that. Like, you knew we need a pan at 11 o'clock. We need a pan at 12 o'clock. We need a pan at 1 o'clock. That's what get us through lunch. And if it's gone, it's gone. But you know how many pieces of chicken you're going to cook, and that way it's going to be fresh every hour.
What if you're
because you can hold it about that long, but anything longer than that, I don't think you can hold it.
What if you're catering instead of restaurant? What if it's a catering?
Oh, catering would be much easier because you know exactly how many pieces you got to cook. So you just work that into your timeline. How long is it going to take me to cook 200 pieces of chicken or whatever? And then to get it, transport it to the event and serve it. So that would be much easier to do.
So how do they do that? I guess that's their question. They're wondering, the timeline's not the issue.
Okay.
The issue is all the prep. They do a lot of prep to get a competition chicken thigh ready.
Yeah.
How are they going to do that in a more
I mean, ain't one way to do it. Sit down and do it. If you're talking about scraping skin and shaping up those thighs and getting them ready,
yeah,
you can't. I mean, there is a place you can buy them pre-trimmed.
Where?
I think it's a place in St. Louis doing like they're trimming all your competition meat for you now.
Really?
Chicken, pork, whatever they call that new cut they're doing, the collar trim.
Yeah.
And the ribs and your brisket, it's all coming pre-trimmed, ready to go to a contest. Now you pay in premium for it, but they're doing it. So somebody's going to have to sit down and trim that chicken. Is what I'm getting at. If you're serving 200 pieces of chicken, guess what? Somebody's sitting there trimming 200 pieces of chicken if you're going to cook it like that.
I wouldn't.
And so you got to put that. Now I would put that time in price in my time too.
Yeah.
But you got to know how long that's going to take. But I mean, you can trim the chicken. We do it for contest 3 days in advance. Well, you cook it on Saturday. We've trimmed it on Wednesday before. Vacuum seal it back
rarely,
up.
yeah.
But I mean, you have.
Yeah.
It'll keep that. I mean,
it was like for something like the Royal or something like that. Most of the time it's Thursday though.
Yeah. So 2 days anyway.
Yeah.
But you just got to do that prep. It's like anything. If you got to work the prep into whatever you're doing.
So I got more questions. This place in Kansas City, their competition.
That's in St. Louis.
Oh, sorry, yeah. St. Louis.
This is what Mark told me this.
Okay.
I'm just relaying. I said, what? No way. He's like, yeah, they're doing it all. You
and
buy
they'll
everything
ship it
trimmed.
to you?
Yeah. Ready to go. I don't know that he knows the name of it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would not do that.
How much do you think that chicken costs? I mean,
I'm talking. I wouldn't sit there and trim all that chicken for everybody.
So the competition trim pack of chicken thighs, one family pack, probably takes half hour.
45 minutes, depending on how fast you are. Yeah.
So that's just 12 to 14 pieces. So you got to think if you're doing a bunch of it, it's going to take some time.
And it's nasty.
I can't see it. I can't see the catering side of it being worth, like being able to charge enough for what it's really worth to get it like that.
That's true. You can't charge enough for chicken thighs to justify putting that much time and effort into it.
You have to get $5 a thigh. That'd be a lot.
I'd have to get more than that. Trimming chicken is one of the nastiest.
Oh, it is. It's horrible. I'd rather trim pork or brisket all day long than I had chicken.
Is that why you gave me that job?
Yeah, I hated it. You're so good at it. You're way better than I am. Oh, yeah.
So what do you got going on coming up?
You're making me go to Starkville.
I'm going to make you ring a cowbell, too. You don't change that attitude.
I am not. You will not see me ringing a cowbell.
I like this TikTok. Couple gold tops. Make it ring some cowbells.
I get 3 Miller Lights in. I'll be cowbelling up. I'm going to pull my Rebel card.
That's what I say. I can go to the Ole Miss games and I can cheer for them, but I can't sing Hotty Toddy.
You didn't. You kept your lips sealed. You look like you're pouting a little bit. I hate this song. How loud do you think it's going to be in Starkville with all those cowbells?
Oh, bring your Tylenol. I'm a state fan. Went there. I'm alumni. The cowbells can be a little much.
A little much.
They get to ringing and it's. I mean, it'll give you a headache.
I guarantee it.
What else you got going on? You got a bunch of turkeys coming up?
Yeah, I got a bunch of turkey videos coming up. Well, not a bunch. I got 2 turkey videos coming up. One of them's kind of short form, how to fast cook one Cajun style. The other one's just a traditional, what I think is probably, well, up until this week, I was like, man, this is the best way to cook one. Because it gives you pretty skin. It's that classic whole turkey.
That one was prettier.
Yeah, it was prettier. Was it as good? I'll say no. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Do you think it comes down to the turkey itself?
I don't know.
You get a good turkey and a bad turkey?
I don't know. I mean, they're just frozen birds. I mean, it's not like you get that much of a choice when it comes to turkey. But I'm excited. I'm expecting any day now a shipment from Kevin at the butcher shop. He sent me a text and said, "Man, I got something I want you to try," and sent like a little care package or whatever. And I was like, dang, it's Christmas early, Jack. There's no telling what he's done sent my way. So I'll probably have some videos coming up with some Kevin stuff.
I hope he sent some turkey breast.
Man, that's what I've got my favorite. Because that's the ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
If he does, I won't be making a video of those. That's going to be what we'll have for Thanksgiving. Because they're so good.
They are really good. Well, I mean, we don't usually. There's 8 people at our Thanksgiving usually. Yeah.
So turkey breast is all you need. I mean, because I always do a ham too. I mean, that's going to be the 2 things that I do. My mom requests bone-in pork loin, but I don't know if I'm going to push that to Christmas or.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean,
that'd be a good one for Christmas.
It's really good. I mean, I like doing those. It's almost like prime rib style. So you do a prime rib and you do a bone-in pork loin, you kind of got best of both worlds, beef and pork, and that's really it says holidays to me.
Yeah. And when we cook for my family, usually do a pork loin
and a beef tenderloin.
Beef tenderloin.
Yeah.
And those usually turn out really good. You always let them rest for a while.
The trick to those is don't do too much to them. Just throw some seasoning on them, get them off, put a probe in them, and get them off when that probe goes off, and just let them rest.
Do you feel like that's the trick to most barbecues?
That's what I did to that turkey. I mean, I cooked that turkey fast, but I didn't mess with it. I was like, I'm just trying to get this one done because we did like 3 videos yesterday. I did do the Gulf Coast Smokes brisket sandwich, and if y'all hadn't seen that video, Tyler, do you remember what the name of the video was on? I think it's on YouTube, isn't it?
I think it's like best barbecue sandwich ever or something.
Yeah,
Gulf Coast
Smoke. Go back and find that. It's probably several videos back for him, probably 2 months ago or a month ago anyway. But it's like you use a sub roll, and it's chopped brisket, jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage, big old slice of fatty brisket, pickles, jalapenos, white onion, barbecue sauce, and it's just it's a sandwich.
So it's brisket 2 ways.
Plus, and sausage.
Plus sausage.
Yeah, it's good. But I got a video of that coming up, just assembling it.
Did he?
So you can see me take a bite of it.
Did he?
It was really good.
Did he use country pleasing sausage?
I doubt it. I think he's from Texas, right?
Like the.
No, I mean, Texas, they got some all kind of sausage down there. They ain't cooking no Alabama or Mississippi sausage in Texas, I bet.
I have never had a Texas sausage that's better than country pleasing.
No, there ain't one.
I don't think so.
There ain't nothing better than Polk's.
It's all dry in Texas. And I like Texas barbecue, but I'm not trying to start a war, but
the sausage is not as good.
The sausage
I mean, I've had some sausage over there, and it's just like you said. You can show them a thing or two about how to put some pork fat in some sausage.
That's what they're missing, the pork fat. Yeah. Well, Malcolm, that's all I have for you today.
Man, you sure? Well, Tyler, we had these questions from the community. Go ahead and tell everybody where they can find us or whatever.
Yeah, so head on over to facebook.com/group/H2Q community if you want to join a group of like-minded pitmasters, share recipes, ask questions. Like he said, most of the questions that we got here today came from the Let's Get to Cooking community, and you can share recipes all weekend long. We're hanging out in there all weekend long and all week long and just answering stuff, and it's just an awesome place to be. And then head on over to HowToBBQRight.com for all of Malcolm's favorite recipes.
That's right. Really good at that.
Heck yeah, he sounds like a spokesperson.
I know.
Can you do a disclaimer?
My wife says that I said it in my sleep.
What about the views and opinions here expressed on this podcast? Not necessarily endorsed by Malcolm Reed or any of his followers. I don't know. I feel like we might need one sometimes. Disclaimer.
Don't come for me about the Texas sausage.
Yeah. Yeah, Shell didn't like it. I like it.
If you'd like to connect with Malcolm, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and of course YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us, and we will be back next week. Probably be talking more Thanksgiving stuff because we're only a few weeks away. Yep. Well, we got 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, really, and then we're out.
It's Thursday, so we're 3 weeks away.
Yeah. Okay.
3 full weeks.
3 full weeks till Turkey Day.
Yep.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
It's a holiday all around eating delicious stuff. Being thankful.
I'm ready for the bowls.
All right. Well, we will see y'all next time. We gone.